I'm Holly Webster, and I built Coraline's Pink Palace apartments here. This is now on ideas.lego.com. I think for anyone that doesn't know anything about ideas, you have to get 10,000 fans to look at it and register and click on the support button, and then it goes to Lego for consideration to go into production so that you could potentially buy it on shelves as well. And the reason I submitted it to Ideas, or the reason I built it and thought that Ideas would be a good approach, is because next year will be the 10-year anniversary for Coraline, which was the flagship film for Laika Animation Studio, which is in Portland, Oregon. And then Laika also has another movie coming out next year. It'll be the 5th film called Missing Link. So it would be pretty cool if...
it all worked together really well.
It would be really good timing to see an anniversary set for Laika at the same time that a new movie is coming out. So I thought maybe this would be a good time to get the attention of the fans.
Great. Well, now here's your sales pitch then. You can take us through it, and we'll make sure to put a link in the description to the Ideas project for anyone who wants to vote for it.
Okay. So let's see some details here. Of course, there's the iconic pink Victorian house. For anyone that has seen Coraline, they should almost immediately recognize it because almost the entire film takes place in and around this house. This is the main set of the house. It's the centerpiece. So the story of Coraline is she's just moved into a new home with her family. It's broken up into a few different apartments. Her parents are really busy. They're like, go play, go explore, keep yourself busy. So she's, walking through this house, and you'll see in the backside here as she goes into the house, and she's exploring all the different rooms. I've kind of detailed all the interiors here that you might see in the film. But as she's exploring the house, there she finds a little secret door that's all bricked up. And she goes to her mom and says, well, what's through here? And she says, I don't know. They closed it up when they divided it into apartments. And then later on, this tunnel magically appears, and it goes into this parallel universe. And there's another house just like hers and another family just like hers, but a little bit better. They spoil her. They pay attention to her. And then they try to trap her. They steal her parents and trap her there. And she's got to save her parents and get out of there.
That story was going so well there.
It takes a hard turn. Yeah. So it's a little dark and creepy, and it's been really fun talking with fans of the film because it really runs quite a range. There's like 4 and 5, 6-year-old little girls and boys that it's their favorite film ever, and then there's 12-year-olds that are like, that gave me nightmares. Thank you. Yeah.
There you go. So then maybe point out some of the other rooms and what else you included in here.
Yeah, so a few little details here. So there's like the dining room here. There's a lot that goes on here, particularly the kitchen area. Pretty accurate, some detail layout there. And then we have the dad's parlor here. The piano spins around. And then there's the parents' bedroom here, Coraline's bedroom up here, the bathroom here, and then we have, this is Babinski's apartment up top, this crazy Russian guy who has a mouse circus, so that's his mouse circus tent, and then there's some cotton candy cannons that, shoot, of course.
Yes.
And then back here, there's a little mirror here, and there's ghost children that hang out in the room where children that can't behave have to live. Yeah, and then this all closes up, so that closes like that, and then the whole thing closes up like a little dollhouse, of course.
Yeah, like a playset sort of thing. So you can, I love that.
So then when it all spins around, it looks just like the house from Coraline. And then we have, more importantly, here are the figures. So we have some custom figures here. I had some help with those, making those look really nice. Thank you to Jared Burks down in Austin, Texas. Did a really fantastic job, hand painting and decaling these figures for me, so they look as movie accurate as possible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are incredible, and lots of details there. So I love what you did with the minifigs. So as you were working on this house, then how did you work with source material? Did you have kind of like screenshots from the movie, or how did that work?
Oh my goodness! Well, full disclosure, I work for Laika Studios. I've been there since Coraline was in production. I didn't work on the film, but I remember seeing this actually on set, the real house that was a set, and that kind of gave me the inspiration sometime along the way to think start seeing it in Lego pieces and wanting to build it. So I kind of had a vision in mind already. And then, yeah, when it came down to designing it, I watched the movie a lot. I had kind of some base floor plans that I was able to get from one of the builders at work. But the problem with movie sets is there's not much continuity there between interiors, exteriors, doors and windows tend to move around from shot to shot. Yeah, so they were kind of making things up. So when it comes to building something practical, you have to tweak things a little bit. So it was watching the movie, watching the flow of it, make sure that as she was walking through the house that the rooms lined up properly, drawing things out, and then did a digital design and just kept working with it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's very impressive, and there's lots of tricky angles, especially with the roof here, that are hard to achieve with Lego. Talk about how you overcame some of those challenges.
With difficulty. The roof tripped me up for quite a bit. I thought I was going to miss its debut at Bricks Cascade, which is where, I put it on display for the first time. Just trying to finish up that roof was pretty tricky. Lots of things on hinges, of course. Hinges are your friend, especially, with Victorian angles, which this whole house, of course, has Victorian angles. Redoing things, and it surprisingly, just magically, doing a little math even, it just kind of finally came together. I still kind of futz with it a little bit, but yeah, I think it looks pretty good.
So now we're here at San Diego Comic-Con, and this is the Laika Live exhibit, which is a super awesome exhibit where Laika has set up a bunch of different sections to show how their movies come together. And behind us is the set that was used in the Coraline movie. So Holly, if you want to talk about this and kind of how you use this as the inspiration for your build.
Yeah, sure. So I'm Holly. I've been working at Laika Animation Studios for about 11 years now. When I started at the studio, Coraline was in production at that time. This house that you see right here was the actual house that was on set. I remember seeing this in person as it was being filmed, and I was so just blown away by the production quality on this thing. And it wasn't long after that I kind of started picturing this in Lego parts, and had always intended to recreate it in Lego form. And now, as we're getting close to the 10-year anniversary of when the film was released, it was time to do it. So here you see the actual set that inspired that idea.
Mm-hmm. So did you have this around the whole time that you could look at this and base your build on it, or how did that work?
No, that would have been great. But no, that's not how it works. I saw it that one time on set, and then aside from that, I was working on a completely different project in a completely different department. Didn't really see it again after that. And then when I actually started on the design for this, I was emailing the guys across the street that actually designed this thing and asked for floor plans. So they graciously sent me some very wrong floor plans because it all shifts from shot to shot, and so there really never was an actual floor plan for this thing. It's kind of crazy. So I just kind of did it based on the film. I just watched it frame by frame sometimes, just figuring out the layout, and then just as I was about 90% done with the design, then they decided to showcase this at the Portland Art Museum. So I could at least cross-reference it and verify that my design was pretty spot on. But yeah, I thought that would have been great about 6 months ago. Yeah, yeah.
Well, it came through right at the end for you there. But one thing I noticed here is that all these characters have such unique, kind of shapes and personalities that come through with that. So was that hard for you to translate then into the Lego minifigs for your ideas set?
Somewhat, yeah. Just getting the scale from character to character can be tricky. Trying to decide which kind of legs I wanted to put Coraline on, if I wanted to do the short little stubby legs or have the longer legs that you can articulate. I kind of went back and forth on that a little bit to try and get the height difference between her and the other mother and other father. The most challenging character was Babinski. I can show him to you over here. Let's go look at Babinski. Yeah. So this guy here was the most challenging part of the minifig design, because as you can see, he's pretty much the antithesis to a standard minifig design. He's very tall and bulbous and top heavy and has a very long face, and everything's kind of elongated and exaggerated on him. So I ended up using the woody legs for him, and had Jared Burks help me out with doing some custom decal work, and so he like hand painted them and did some other fabulous work to bring in some of the detail on him. And you just kind of have to use your imagination with minifigures as usual. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Well, with this giant model here of the house, it's a really good way to see all the different details here. So what would you say were the hardest parts for you to capture as we look at the larger details of the house here and translate into Lego?
Overall, there were the two biggest challenges. The one was with the secret door. There's a portal that Coraline travels through from her house in reality to this mystical other world house, and trying to figure out like a parallel universe and how she gets from one to the other was kind of tricky. So I ended up putting in kind of a faux door. At parts in the movie, that door is kind of bricked up, so she can't actually travel through the door. So that was convenient because I could just put bricks there and like, all right, you're stuck in the other house. That's part of the movie. And the second most challenging part was the roof. I mean, this is a Victorian house. There's lots of crazy angles and little details on this, and trying to get all of that to match up perfectly was quite a challenge. I probably spent a third of the time on the project just working out the rooftop.
That's understandably very difficult there, but I think you certainly captured the overall look of it very nicely. And as I mentioned at the beginning here, we are at San Diego Comic-Con with the Laika Live event. So talk a little bit more about kind of what this event is and why this stuff is on display here.
Okay, so Laika has been putting on this exhibit at near San Diego Convention Center every year around San Diego Comic-Con time, just kind of showing off the props and the characters and the movie sets from our films. We've got our 5th film coming out next year. That's Missing Link, April 2019. Like I said, as we're nearing Coraline's 10-year anniversary, there's a big push right now to kind of remind people, of who Laika is, the movies we're making. That was our flagship film, so that's a pretty big deal. As I was, designing this house, I thought this would be a great ideas project to get some more brand recognition for Laika and, get people to, again, know more about our studio and our film. So I ran the idea past them, told them I would like to submit it to Ideas. They fully supported me. They said this would be a great thing to showcase while we were doing Laika Live at San Diego Comic-Con. So yeah, it was the perfect time and place to showcase it. It's been great.
It really is, yeah, and I certainly have a much better respect for all the work that goes into these movies after going through the exhibit here. It's just insane, all the different, little parts that are made for every set in every movie here. So it's really incredible, and, once again, great work on your Lego build. It captures the look very well, so thank you so much for showing it off to us.
Great, thank you.